Hello and welcome to the Point in Progress podcast, episode 40. Your one-stop shop for news, recommendations, and some spicy takes. Join 5 friends, today 4 friends, across 3 time zones still? We're still 3 time zones. Yeah, we've got 3 time zones and 2 countries every week as we discuss all things that we love while still thinking critically of them. Hello, guys. How are you guys doing? We got Mario. How you doing, Mario?
I'm so happy that worked.
We've been testing things for the last hour or so, just trying to make sure everything is working. And we almost were like, you know what? We can't do this. We'll do it next week. But then Mario figured it out. So, heck yeah. Oh, heck yeah. Heck yeah.
Hell yeah.
Frank, how the heck are you?
Pretty good. I'm having a good day.
That's good. Fee, how the heck are you?
I am here. I'm having fun. I'm excited to talk to you guys. I have a hot chocolate.
We have a lot to talk about.
Hot chocolate sounds so good.
Watching, just saying, we have a lot to talk about. Sly is off for the week this week. They'll be back next week, and then next week also our 1 year
anniversary.
Yeah, next week. So we started around like the 11th or 14th or something like that. So that's, I think we're gonna be doing on the 11th. We're gonna do a little something, right?
Yeah, a little different.
A
little different.
Yeah,
You'll find
something out.
Yeah. You'll find out.
Heck yeah. But for a little bit of housekeeping, we hit the big 4-0.
That's right.
40. Okay. Yeah.
I love how I knew. You know, when I wrote that in housekeeping, I shit you not, I thought about it. I'm like, someone's gonna get really confused on the big 4-0. And
I was gonna say we hit the big 4-1 on the next podcast.
We finally hit episode 40, guys. Episode 40.
Certainly
It's
did.
40.
And
we only hit episode 40 once.
And 200 subs on YouTube.
That's right.
200 subs on YouTube. That's crazy.
Absolutely bonkers.
Can only go any higher from this, you know?
Right? Exactly. Well, from that housekeeping, guys, you can watch this show live on twitch.tv/pointinprogress every Friday. On every Monday, our first video comes out that's broken up, where it is the news that we talk about, which is the patch notes, usually just like what happened during the week. And then on Tuesday, you can watch the what we've been playing, what we've been watching over on youtube.com/pointinprogress. Go over there, give the likes. Please get the likes. Give the sub to the channel if you guys like the content on the channel. But we really appreciate you guys' support. Thank you guys so much for all the support. It really does mean a lot. On that note, let's jump in to what we've been playing. There's a lot of redacted stuff here right now, so I'm gonna have to.
Actually,
it's looking like a CIA documented again, but I kind of like it. I like this look. I think it looks really cool.
Underneath is pretty much when we all connect together, so you should see where.
There we go. That's okay. That's fun. Okay, so let's go with everybody that all of us all at once for a second here. You know, let's have the.
Yes.
No, I'm not gonna say it. We all watched Yellow Jacket. If you guys ever play, do you guys ever go golfing? Has anybody went golfing before?
No.
I've played a extensive amount of Tiger Woods PGA Tour 2004 when I was a kid. So yes,
so did I actually.
Yeah.
But when you go to a golf course, when you have a bunch of people going on the golf, on your tee time, they say some. So like we have Harv with his foursome going up to the tee, and then if you have 3 people, it's a threesome.
They do actually. They actually do.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
I'm excited to see how this is relevant.
About the only time anybody probably would see a foursome in their lifetime, honestly.
I mean, not wrong. All right, so we've all watched Yellow Jacket. Okay, this is a TV show that is on, I think it's on Showtime.
Yes.
It's on Showtime. Yeah. So I've watched 2 episodes of this so far. I'm on episode. I just finished episode 2, I think, or I'm about to finish episode 2, and then. But we all watched episode 1.
Yes.
Together, right?
That is true.
This show, I like this show, but at the same time, I feel like this show goes very slow, and to a point where I'm just kind of like, maybe speed it up a little bit. I don't know. I don't know. It's a cool concept. So it's a concept of the show is like. There are girls that go to their national championship for soccer, and their plane crashes for, what is it, like 18 months? 19 months?
They're stranded in the Rockies.
Yeah, for 19 months, and then they get rescued, and they have to adjust to life now after this traumatic thing that happened. And they're like little kids, like not little kids, but like they're pretty much teenagers.
They were
some of them
17,
are older
18.
than others. Some of
Yeah,
them are.
and this is like what 20 years later.
25 years later.
25 years later, and they're dealing with just like those traumatic stuff that happened back when they were younger.
Yeah.
So I want to before I keep talking, I want to send it to Frank. What do you think about the show?
So I really like these kind of survival like shows. I'll be real with you. Like I love seeing people who are usually not used to the elements get thrown into the elements, right? One of my favorite books of all time, and one of the books I read every now and again, is called Hatchet. When I was a kid, I read this book over and over and over again because it's about a kid. I think he was in the Canadian wilderness, actually. He's going to go fly over to his dad's. Pilot has a heart attack. Plane gets downed, and he now has to fend for himself in, I'm guessing, Canadian wilderness. It's been a while since they said the location. It's cool because even that book had like a alternate reality part 2 where like he has to survive through winter. But yeah, no, great book. I love that book, and it kind of reminds me of that because it's literally the same concept of kids flying on a plane. They get downed. They're in the winter. Oh no, they get down during the summer, right?
Yes,
and
then
then
land
it
somewhere.
goes into the winter.
Well, they go.
There's always snow there, I think, right?
Yeah, always snow there. Okay, yeah,
Yeah, they're an exotic place, right?
Yeah, because when they first get downed, it's regular forest, and then the flash forward is in winter.
Yeah.
So yeah, no, I like the concept. I think it's really cool. I love how every character has their own personality that they push out towards the world, but at the same time have a personality that they hide to themselves. There's kind of like a two-faced kind of thing with every character, where every character has a dual personality almost, and I think that's going to be really interesting to explore, especially in a world where you don't really have to project that anymore. You're kind of free to be whoever you truly are. So we'll see.
This is just the modern day Lord of the Flies. This is what this is.
Correct.
I remember watching or reading Lord of the Flies first, and then watching the movie for Lord of the Flies, and I was like, "That's fucking terrifying." Hell no.
Yeah.
Hell no.
I'm excited though.
I'm gonna go to you last because you've watched the entire show.
Okay.
But I want to go to Mario next. What did you think, Mario?
I enjoyed the first episode. I love all the actresses that play all of the modern day characters. Of course, I'm a huge fan of Christina Ricci. She looks incredible. We only see her so little, but in the trailer, it looks like she's in bigger parts. So I'm excited to see her as because I've only seen the one episode. Everyone else gathered together. We all watched one episode together and then went on our way. And yeah, I'm excited to see what is the struggle that goes through having to survive during this part. I'm also curious, is there any, and I don't know, and you can semi-tell me, is there anything other than people crashed? Because it goes buck wild in the first trailer of what you see in terms of visual. So I'm curious if there's something other sneaky thing going on there that we are not privy to, obviously, in the first episode. Fee made a little smile face. I saw that.
I got like a supernatural element, you're thinking?
Possibly, because you don't just go from being like 90s kids in like soccer kids to all of a sudden like there's like iconography that they're using when they wear these weird like tribal outfits or whatever. So I'm very curious to see how they progress to get to that point. But what I will say is, and also a shout out to the young actresses because one of them was in Scream. I love Scream. That character was fantastic, and excited to see their ongoing careers as the new wave of, I guess, kids. Right? I mean, we all have our generation of people. So this is the next generation. But yeah, it's really cool to see a show like this being told on a cable network show.
Yeah, it's really, really cool. I like it. Fee, what are your thoughts?
I really, really enjoy this show. I had seen a few trailers for it, and quite honestly, I think what really pushed me to actually watch it was, this is going to sound very silly. I was watching the Try Guys. For many of you who don't know who they are, they're YouTubers, 4 YouTubers that specifically do just crazy content. And they were talking about Yellow Jackets. And I'm like, okay, I've seen it. Eugene has watched it, and Eugene's like my favorite Try Guy, so I'm like, I now need to watch it. I in fact watched the entire series, like season in a day and a half, and then I showed these guys the first episode, and I really enjoy it. Yes, it is relatively slow pace, but I think it's very rewarding, especially once you get through more episodes. It just because it kind of starts moving a little bit faster, like through the show. It's still relatively like there's still some parts where I feel like they could be moving a little bit faster, but then once I hit the end, I'm like, now this all makes sense. Like now I can see why this has happened the way that it did. It is
It's the
only
payoff.
yeah, it's a payoff. And then you're just sitting there like, when's season 2 coming out? Because I need to know more. So it's they left really good cliffhangers for season 2, which I think they've already got greenlit for. I'm not specifically sure off the top of my head, but no, the actresses are absolutely phenomenal. The younger actresses, the actress that you were thinking of is Jasmine Savoy Brown. She is also in Scream, and she plays Thaisa, and she's the teen Thaisa in the
Mm.
series, who is the girl who I you know what? I'm not going to spoil it for people who are listening. I almost specifically said how to differentiate her. And for people who have watched the first episode, there's a pretty graphic thing that happens, and she
Oh,
is the cause for it.
okay.
So that
Yeah.
is the explanation I'm going to give. But no, it is absolutely like I think it's great. It's just a lot of phenomenal actresses, and showing it doesn't it's not all about like, oh, like this is gonna sound very silly. Sometimes when you have a lot of women in a specific show, it can like go on other routes. And I think what they did here was they showed like the strength of women throughout it, which was great. And obviously there was still conflict. Yes, there's still this teenage element of like, oh, boys. But at the same time, it was a lot about like trying to work together to survive. And even the women 25 years later are still trying to kind of get over it, which is kind of a good representation of like one mental health, because you can see it's still affecting them to this day. And there's a lot of things that happen where you're just like, oh, that's gonna last you a lifetime. So it's just a lot of those things throughout, and I'm very excited to continue watching it. It does have a lot of like Lord of the Flies kind of vibe to it, obviously, because it is a bunch of women. It
That first episode, we don't see that much of it.
no,
Second, like
Mhm.
I've watched the second episode now, so I've seen like more of that kind of stuff,
Yeah.
that side of it. So it is interesting to see. And
There's definitely
where they
glimpses
go.
of it in that first episode, like little flashes of like,
Yeah.
oh yeah, this is definitely Lord of the Flies.
Quick question: how
Yes.
much of it, and it is approved? It is a greenlit for season 2, which we'll be seeing hopefully next year. How much of the flashbacky parts are linear versus like jumping around? Because it seems jumping around in certain aspects, but then it's like it seems to be going
Well,
through a through line.
I can say that the flashback is jumping around.
It's jumping around, not
because
necessarily. Okay.
The way the next episode starts is them crashing. So like they've already went back, right? So
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, the flashbacks are linear. Like the flashback, like they have a flashback, they're at the party. They have a flashback, they've crashed. They have a flashback, this happens in this particular sequence. So it's not a lot of like, oh, this is them 7 months down the line, and then this is them a month in.
this
Like, it's
this
not a
ain't
lot
no
of that.
Lost. This ain't no
No,
Lost.
it's the reason why I brought it up was because in the first episode, the first thing you see is someone essentially feasting. That's all I'll say. But then you see them crashing, right? And then so that's why I was wondering like how much of it's like going to be all over
There's
the place.
a few, but it's explained why they
Fair
see
enough.
it, a specific thing.
Okay.
But no, I think no, it's gosh. Even some of like the non-vocal like vocal points in this particular show are insane. Just like the looks on their faces, like in particular sections, or like at least the conversation, the dialogue, it felt really real in comparison to some teen shows where it seems really overacted. It seemed like this is very much like almost in a primal aspect in certain cases, which is really like great to see. And it's not I'm not trying to dig at other teenage shows currently on out there, but I'm thinking that this is like this for me was really great, and that's why I watched the entire season and a half in a day. Well, no,
Oh, no,
not
I
season
agree.
and a half, but
It's
season and
it's
day and a
very
half.
tolerable compared to other teen shows.
Yeah.
I'm looking
No,
at
for
you, C-word from Riverdale.
Yeah, I was gonna say, I'm like this. When I was talking, I was thinking of Riverdale.
I know.
Oh yeah, that I was wondering like why did you say C-word from Riverdale? I'm like, oh yeah, that's right, fucking Peacemaker.
But yeah, I'd
All right.
highly recommend it.
Okay, you know what? We're gonna go through everything that we watched. So the next thing on the list is Mario and Frank. You guys have been watching the Book of Boba, aka Mandalorian season 3. How is that show
The Book of Booba.
going?
I don't really I can't really say much without spoiling it if you haven't already seen it, but I will say that I'm just going to literally say the same thing I said on Twitter. This show, at least in its last episode, has done more in 40 minutes to make Star Wars feel like an interconnected universe than 9 hours of movies that we got. I do realize that now that, you know, this is something from the animated series where they like actually like connected characters from like different like, you know, lore and stuff like that. But they're actually starting to do things in this universe that I've wanted since they were starting to bring back Star Wars. I wanted to see characters that weren't just Skywalkers. I wanted to see characters that inhabited this universe and stories were told by them, without them just being like, oh, here's a one-off little cameo and that's really kind of about it. They're definitely doing some really insane stuff with Book of Boba Fett. I don't understand why Boba Fett's kind of taking a back seat a little bit in his own show.
I was going to say, why is it called Book of Boba Fett?
That's why I said it's Mandalorian season 3.
Well, I imagine it's a play on like the Book of Eli or like, you know, stuff like that. You know what I mean?
But apparently
like,
in the last like 2 episodes, he's had 1 minute of screen time or something like that.
Yeah, I will admit it's a little weird I don't know if they're pulling a Kojima where they're like, here's Solid Snake, and then we're just gonna shelve him for the rest of the show. No, like it's definitely weird to have your title character be the sideline character, but it's definitely done in service to propel the story forward. I will say that. And when the story gets propelled forward, you kind of understand why they needed to take a little bit of break from a character so then they can focus back on the main character.
So hopefully, because there's only 1 episode left.
Yeah, which is shocking to me.
Yeah. So it kind of feels like they kind of have to go back to Boba Fett at some point.
Well, they're already there, but it's just weirdly taking a tangent.
Yeah.
A good tangent. Don't get me wrong. I've loved the tangent, but at the same time, it's sort of just like...
for the life of me, I could not skip the spoiler, so I already saw what happened in this episode.
Yeah, no.
There's too many people talking about
people
it.
on fucking Twitter. What is the deal? All of a sudden, everybody on Twitter is just like, here's straight up screenshots of the cool scenes in this last episode. It's like, guys, it's been 2 days. Let people fucking...
It wasn't even 2 days. It was the night.
I didn't see anything the night of. I luckily didn't get spoiled on that. Go ahead, Fee, sorry.
No, I straight up saw a scene. And I'm like an entire like 3-minute scene on TikTok. I watched the entire thing and I'm like, you know what? This is probably what's gonna get me to watch the show because I was not.
So I put out a poll, a scientific poll, right, on Twitter, and my hypothesis was that can I just watch the last 2 episodes of Boba Fett?
Watch the whole show.
Fine with it.
No, watch the whole show. Just watch the whole show.
It was just like a thing that I wanted to put out there, just see gauge other people's reactions.
You can get yes or no. Yes,
I got 2 and 2 on this one, where 2 people said yes, you should watch the entire show because like apparently episode 2 slaps. Episode 2 is really good.
Episode 2 is really good.
Yeah, it's real good.
And then 2 people said just watch, go to Wikipedia, see what's going on, and then just watch the last 2 episodes.
Yeah,
I personally. As much as I semi agree with Frank's statement, I will say eventually all of this will just get interconnected in a way where it all could be as cohesive and fixes bad mistakes, because that's what really Dave Filoni and like Jon Favreau have been doing for the last 3. Fee, what are you doing? I don't know what you're talking about. I don't know what you're
talking about.
Yeah.
He's not on that show.
Not at all.
Dropkick him.
This is about Boba Fett, not
Hold on,
the Mandalorian.
I was gonna find a way to turn off her camera, but I can't do it with this option.
Drop kicker.
The director has kicked you.
Wait, I could probably do that. Hold on, never mind. But let me.
Don't
Not worrying about it. But overall, I think being in the world of the spaghetti western of Star Wars is a lot of fun, and that's the fun I'm having. I will say there are the complaints that everyone has with Star Wars are all still valid and true.
Mm-hmm.
I want something new. I want something new.
You just take it out of the box, like
just
right
open
now.
up a new mint in box, dude. That would have been worth like $50 in like 2052.
Hey man, sometimes if you need $50 in 2052,
Well, it's not worth $50 anymore. She opened it.
I need $50 in 2020. Okay, so. Okay,
All right.
This is an audio podcast. Okay, they don't know what's going on.
Nobody can see that. This is that one was purely for our Twitch viewers and our video viewers.
Obviously,
Yeah, there you go.
This is
he's got
why
a very weird neck.
It's
Oh my
Oh
god!
god!
You just threw Grogu across her room.
Oh no,
that's a
Grogu's
spoiler.
dead. Grogu is
Oh.
killed.
That's a spoiler. It's the child.
Yeah, I'm literally
Baby Yoda?
If you guys spoil something, I'll go along with it. But
Wow.
like,
Harv just straight up spoiled season 2 of The Mandalorian.
That season
sorry
2's
for
fine.
audio listeners.
Luke
You had him on the screen feed.
Luke's
Called the child. The fucking child, Harv. Not
Yeah,
it
true.
Grogu
doesn't
was
say
in season 1.
spoilers
No,
for
Grogu wasn't in season 1, was it?
no
The
season
name-
two.
Season 2.
The name,
The
that
name.
name didn't
Okay,
come until
season
season
two.
2. Season 2, Harv.
You know what was also in season
Ahsoka's the one
2?
who says it.
You know who's also in season 2? Luke Skywalker.
Oh,
There we
shit.
go.
Yeah,
Yeah, he's also in season 2.
You guys can't be mad.
yeah, a weird
Yeah.
deep fake Luke Skywalker, not played by Sebastian Stan.
No.
Speaking of which, Sebastian Stan wants to actually play Luke Skywalker apparently, so just let him. I think it'll be fine. Honestly,
I've seen a lot of him. I'll say that.
honestly, Star Wars. Let's just do this, right? If the creators of whoever's writing over at Star Wars and making sure this universe is well in hand in the Mandalorian universe, just retcon the movies. Fuck the movies. We don't need the movies. We already have diverging.
Oh no!
We already
You're,
have. We
you're
already
one of the
have.
anti sequel people.
Those fucking movies sucked. Okay, compared to this, it's so much better. We can write
God, you guys are the worst.
better stories. We already know from the animated series that there are diverging timelines, and timelines don't fucking matter. So let's just say that the movies are in their own universe. That's why characters like Ahsoka never showed up.
Now he's
That's
spoiling Rebels.
Yeah. let's just retcon the movies.
or
It's all the way to fix Star Wars at this point.
no, it's not. This the last 2 episodes showed us how you can combine everything. But anyways, you should definitely watch Book of Boba if you're on the fence of it. I still think it's a solid show to watch if you're a Star Wars fan. So definitely still check it out. My opinion.
All right. On that note, Fee and I have been starting to watch Veep.
Yes, we have.
So I don't want to take too much of the floor on this one because one thing I will say about Veep is it's one of my favorite shows. I love this show so much because it's just I feel like it's improv with slapstick comedy and very high vulgarness in this show. Like it is very vulgar to the point where I'm like, yeah, I know you're on HBO, but like, can you actually say that?
Yeah.
So I
You'd be
want
surprised what you
to.
can do on HBO.
Oh yeah. So I wanna give the floor to you, Fee. If you what do you think about this show?
So I think it's balls to the walls crazy. Like I don't even know like half the things. Like Mike should not be hired. Like Mike should not have a job. That is one thing I've learned very fast in the show. Mike should never be a social media anything.
He's the social media guy that leaks everything.
Let alone talk to anybody. I feel like he's like literally the reason why she's in hot water like at least 25 to 30% of the time. No, it's a really good show. I think I didn't even know that it existed up until we were just scrolling through Crave after watching Yellow Jackets the other night, and you were just like, "Man, Veep's amazing." I'm like, "What's Veep?" I don't know what Veep is. I have no sweet clue, and I think it's been kind of helping because I've been watching a lot of depressing stuff recently. So kind of just balancing out just the sheer chaos of Yellow Jackets and another show I'll be talking about in just a little bit here. But no, I think it's absolutely fantastic. Like I've always thought Julia's been like a great actress. Like I've always heard really good things about it. Her specifically. And so seeing her in the show, just like seeing her like comedy chops is like even better. Like she's actually probably the reason why I want to go see like some of her older shows and material because she's so funny.
When it comes to her, I was talking to Fee about this a while ago, where out of the cast of Seinfeld, she is like the actor's actor. Like she is the actual actor out of all. Like they could all act. Like Jerry Seinfeld, he's a funny comedian. He can't act, right? His acting is like, he can't act really well. Kramer can act, and Jason Alexander's a really good actor, but he's more of like, I feel like Jason Alexander is more of a theater actor than anything else.
He couldn't get a standalone show to save his life. I think he tried like twice.
Yeah. But when it comes to Julia Louis-Dreyfus, like when you watch Seinfeld, you're like, yeah, she knows how to do physical comedy. She knows how to like get the punchline. Her comedy timing is really good, and this show puts that in the forefront because she's the main person of the show, and she is one of the funniest people on the show.
Oh yeah,
because she has like she has really really good lines compared to everybody else. But like everybody else is like the supporting actors are so good. They're so well done. Especially the what's his name? Dan, the fucking cutthroat dude.
Fucking Dan's out here just like trying to make his way to the top. Jonah could like go eat dirt for all I care. He is a pain in the butt. Amy is just trying to get by and making mistakes left and right. I feel for her probably out of all of them. Just because she's just consistently under pressure and stress. But no, I think it's a really good show. I would very much recommend it, especially if you're a fan of things like The Office, Parks and Rec, also Arrested Development, because it kind of has that type of comedy, but it's like turned to 11 when it comes to like vulgarness, but it's also great. There's specific jokes that are like done in The Office, and I'm trying to remember his name. Oh my god, let me see The Office. I will remember the character's name in a second here, but there's just the comedy aspects, and also you see a lot of people from The Office in the show. It's just like, oh, The Office ended. Where are we supposed to go? Let's all go to Veep. At least some sort of capacity. So it's been really interesting to see them just come back. And like at least, Todd Packer. It's like taking Todd Packer for people who have watched The Office. You understand?
Yeah.
It's like It's literally Todd Packer humor, but it's not censored. Like it is sheer inappropriate comments. People are telling each other like, I'm gonna go bleep your mother and then set her body on fire if you fucking pass me and stuff like that. There's just like
there's a joke where I'm just gonna use your eyes as a fuckhole.
Yeah, like things
your
like
eye
that.
sockets.
All right, this show's got skull fucking. I'm into it. Let's watch it.
One guy just like just consistently is just talking about fisting other people. He's just like, if you fucking cross me, I'm gonna fist you. I'm gonna shove this remote and shove it square up your butt.
So it's like a Call of Duty lobby.
So this is a TikTok. Got it. I'm making a TikTok out of this.
I'm like, how? What? Who allowed this? Like, but it's so good. It's just like just the comedy beats are just alone so good. So I would recommend it, especially if you like. There's some things that do kind of go over my head a little bit because of American politics, but Harv's been kind of explaining it to me while we've been watching it, because there are definitely like
she was very confused about the vice president, and that vice president has no power.
Yeah, literally.
I'm like,
he's just there to talk when the president's not there.
He's like, why is the vice president? Why she has like she should be able to do this? She should be. It's like, nah, she has zero power.
Yeah,
no, she has zero power. She like has her like thoughts changed multiple times. Like she has like her entire like speeches cut down to nothing because she's not allowed talking about clean power and my goodness, filibuster reform and stuff like that. And I'm just like, oh my god, this is really sad. Honestly, I also was thinking like, why isn't she also in the White House? But I didn't ask that at the time, and now saying it out loud, I'm feeling real dumb. So yeah, that's
Vice President goes into the Eisenhower building that is right next to the White House, but not in the White House.
Did not know this. Good to know. I'm learning.
Yeah, politics. Yeah,
vice presidency. It's. I'm glad that she got her recognition. She's won, I think, 3 Emmys because of the show. For the last three seasons that she did. So I'm glad that the show got a couple of Emmys as well. So I'm happy she finally got her recognition. But yeah, Veep, very very good if you like just slapstick comedy and vulgarness at the same time.
So
Oh,
much
yeah.
vulgarness.
So
Fisting.
much. So some words you probably shouldn't say.
What, like fisting? We already said it 1,000 times.
Yeah,
no
skull
other
fucking.
No,
words.
there's a lot of other things said on the show that should not be said.
Oh,
ever.
those C words from Riverdale. Got it.
Yeah.
Among other things. And so we've all also started watching. Well, we've watched, I think, the first 4 episodes of Peacemaker.
First two.
Two
First three.
episodes. We watched
First,
two
first
episodes.
two. First two.
Two. Okay.
Yeah.
Of Peacemaker, which is the continuation of, I guess, like it's like a tangential story from the Suicide Squad.
Takes place
right?
after Suicide Squad,
Yeah.
the
Yeah,
remake, not the shitty
8
one.
months later. 8 months later, I want to say.
About.
Yeah.
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 What did you? We've already talked about this very extensively on the show. So, what did you guys think of this?
I thought it was really funny. I also loved the fact that we were watching it when the doctor said, "You're free to go," and I was just like, he shouldn't be allowed to go, and he's also like, I shouldn't be able to leave, and I'm like, oh my god.
Like, is there anybody out there waiting for me? And you see the hallway. There's nobody there.
Nobody there. Just like, oh my god, it's just very funny, and I keep on wanting to go back and watch it because I want to be able to like catch up because the comedy there is just too good. Honestly,
It gets better. I'll say that. The next few episodes are like some of my favorites.
You have no fucking idea.
No. My god, I will admit there was a point where I was just like, I felt really bad because I think it was both of you were just like, they talked about BTS, and I'm like, oh, like I thought there was going to be BTS in the show, not they mentioned it once, and I'm like, oh, BTS, because I
Oh,
watched an entire
yeah.
scene while you guys were like, the BTS is in the show.
To be fair, I think John Cena has a lot of balls, especially in our day and age where if you say anything bad about BTS, you just get like doxxed. But he suggests to blackmail BTS, and I'm just like, oh my god, you guys have balls.
I think he's on record of saying he likes BTS beforehand, so that's good.
Yes, he is.
Yeah.
Yes, he is. No, I think it's really well done. I'm very happy that DC, and the best way to kind of describe it is I'm very excited to see more content like this from DC rather than them being up their own butts, because it's just been a lot of like pretentious, like, oh, it's Superman, oh, it's Batman, let's be all serious. And I'm like, y'all read the comics, right? Because DC comics are not like this whatsoever. There's there's always been some sort of aspect of comedy and like almost like, especially in like the darker like Arkham comics, it's like kind of vulgar in certain ways, and not like it's not a very like clean cut type of comic book series, like at least overall. Just like when I think of DC, I never really thought of the types of movies that they've been kind of bringing out the past decade. And so being able to see things like Peacemaker, I'm like, okay, now we're kind of aligning back to what DC is, which is like, it's a little bit over the top, but that's kind of what DC is like. And it needs to get back to that. And I'm not saying that they have to change all their movies or like make them like crazy, but I always thought like it was just very funny to me when we have like, when you think of like Marvel comics, some of them other than like things like Deadpool kills like, and I know I mentioned that one, it's probably because I love that entire
It's a good comic. It's a good comic.
No, I think when I think of like the MCU, I'm thinking a little bit more like serious when it comes to the comics, and then you kind of see like this playfulness in the movies and stuff like that, but then it's kind of like with DC, it's playful in the comics, and then you saw a lot of, I'm gonna be honest, I haven't been really thrilled about DC movies or content over the past decade because of the kind of way that they've been recording their like at least showing off their movies and stories and telling them that specific way.
You don't want to watch a 4-hour movie about Batman.
They haven't really, and I agree with you, they haven't really found their voice. Like, they don't really know the style they want to go. Marvel took a little bit to do it, but they definitely found that voice at some point. But yeah, I agree.
Sure. You've been seeing it a lot, even in like the past like the past 5 years when it comes to MCU movies, where you do see like there's the serious portions, but there's also like the comedy, and there's also like they're filling out the characters, whereas DC was very much like almost flat to me when it came to like, don't Henry Cavill's Superman is fantastic. I will not like specifically argue that. He's just very good looking, but it's just the essence of the characters just weren't there, or like at least not hitting the mark for me. And so seeing things like Peacemaker where the best way to put it is they're kind of shooting the ship, but at the same time, it's like this is very much Peacemaker. This is very much like the types of things that you would see in a typical DC kind of like universe. And so I'm really excited to see more of that. And I think shows like The Boys kind of really helped pave the way for stuff like this
Mhm.
because I'm gonna be honest, a lot of super like hero movies really take themselves too seriously, and I just didn't like it. I
That's
just don't.
exactly what I was
We
going
need
to say.
to.
I don't
You're
enjoy
right.
it.
You're 100% right, because DC up to now treated these characters as these characters are gods. They're euphemisms for
They're like on
Jesus, and
pedestals.
they were putting on a pedestal and stuff like that. And the first thing you see in Peacemaker is Aquaman fucks fish. Like it's they stop putting them on a pedestal and start making them kind of a joke to. They're probably gods around themselves, but like everyone around them probably makes fun of them, which is what happens in the DC comics. People make fun of them all the time. Like there's constant misinformation and stuff like that thrown out there in the comics, and they act like how supervillains were act. They're not like, hey, you foiled my grand scheme. No, they're more of like, fuck Batman. He's a little bitch.
No, and even like you saw like we would see this a lot in like. I'm not saying that they were swearing or like going over the top when it came to like the older like shows like the 1960s like Batman and stuff like that. There were kind of crazy antics and stuff like that, and then they just kind of took that like excitement and like just overall like story, like at least like the character, like and by characters I mean like just like the excitement of the comics, and now they're just like, oh, we have to be really serious and all of our like costumes have to be really dark. And I know the fact that like The Boys made fun of that really fucking quick. And
Really
then
quick.
it's like, you know what? I'm happy that they're finally calling it out because that's something that just didn't like really excite me. So seeing Peacemaker is just insane. And just over the top. And God, John Cena, you know for a fact he loves that character.
He loves
so
that
much.
character so much. You can definitely tell. It's weird because like we've definitely seen at least in recent times with DC, at least in the mainline comics, they're definitely trying to balance that right now. It seems like the movies like Joker, the Batman, and all these other things are now falling under what they're calling is the Black Label. Which if remember back when I was like, when Joker was announced, I was like, they should just put this all under the Black Label line and just call it like that. That's what they're doing. These movies are now one and done, not connected to a universe. They can do technically kind of whatever they want to with them. And they'll just be under the Black Label now. So just like with the comics, they can show nudity, they can swear, they can kill people, stuff like that.
The problem that I might have, like that I'm thinking about that is like, what if, like this Batman movie is coming out 2 years from now, we're gonna get another Batman movie.
Well, those movies are not connected to anything.
But that's what I mean. But we're gonna go through the same trend. We're gonna go through maybe we would probably not get the origin story because we're not gonna get it in this Batman. But like we're gonna have the same maybe the same bad guys or something like that, and it's just gonna be like a whole new story on Batman, which I feel like would start fatiguing people on Batman.
So
it's so different than what's been going on for DC for years, right? None of this. Well, seemingly the stories never connected, but they kind of did in a weird way when you went from Tim Burton to Joel Schumacher movies. But ultimately, it's just sort of like it's another universe that just has only Batman.
I just mean we're gonna get more Batman than we've gotten before. So every maybe 3 years we're gonna get a new Batman movie, which is gonna be completely different.
In the same way that the Dark Knight happened.
DC right now
those three different movies. Those three movies that are all connected.
Yeah, but we'll have. I'm just saying,
but it's all a pocket universe.
But what you're trying to say is that we're gonna have a Batman that's this, and then we're gonna have a Batman that's another Batman. Is that what you're trying to say?
Because we're gonna have movies like Flashpoint too. Keep that in mind.
I mean, at this point,
but the Flashpoint isn't connected to any of this other stuff, though.
It is
to Justice League because Ben Affleck's Batman's gonna be part of it.
Though.
It's not connected to Batman, no, but it is connected to Peacemaker and all that stuff.
So think of the movies that are not connected to Justice League or anything like that, because Peacemaker is connected to Justice League, because Harley Quinn is connected to Suicide Squad. Suicide Squad's connected to Ben Affleck's Batman.
This is where the problem, because I'm not thinking about right now. I'm thinking 10 years from now, right? From now to 10 years, we're gonna have a Batman movie. We're gonna have a Superman movie. We're gonna have all this, but then they're gonna have this side thing that's the DCEU. that's going at the same time, and then people are going to be like, they're not connected. No.
You think of the DCEU kind of how they're doing, like I said, like they're doing the comics right now, where you have a mainline universe with the mainline story going on, and then you have the Black Label, which is stories being told by people that they don't have to worry about it having to be interconnected. They don't have to worry. They can tell their own story how they want to without it having repercussions to the overall universe.
I understand. No,
Dark Knight Returns.
I understand that. I just feel like it's just going to get to a point where like we need to figure out which one's connected and which one's not connected.
Well, this is what Marvel's going to have to do eventually, right? They're going to, with multiverse stuff, they're going to have stuff that's going to be taking place in a universe that is not the mainline universe. DC right now is just like doing it in a way that is still kind of fresh, which is like, look, we have a mainline universe, but we're going to start doing other universes and have them be their own movies, because Joker isn't part of Batman.
To be fair though, in the Flashpoint movie, it's the Tim Burton Batman is in the DCEU. So all of these rules don't matter. It's just if it connects, it connects. In the same way, and this is not a spoiler for Spider-Man, in the same way that Spider-Man has the villains in it. Right? These are from all old properties that are not connected, but now they are. I mean, it could happen, it could not, but either way, you still enjoyed several years of Spider-Man. Like you enjoyed Batman. Like, I don't know. I think these can coexist in the same way that different cartoon shows can. Like if Teen Titans Go can exist and Young Justice exist, I'm not confused by the properties if they're different. But I understand that there's going to be a saturation. Trust me, we've been living with it for the last 20 years. But at the same time, I do see that you're going to get your cake and eat it too, or you're not. You're just going to enjoy it or not. That's really ultimately it.
Yeah. For me, it's like we're going to see so many of these like rehash stories over and over and over that are not connected that they're just going to be like, this is my take on Batman. This is my take on Batman. This is my take on Batman.
Well, that's what comic books are.
But comic books are that, but movies are different, in my opinion.
But it gives you an opportunity to like mess around with other stories. Like we could see Gotham by Gaslight. We could see The Dark Knight Returns. We can see Arkham Asylum. You know, we could see all these stories that wouldn't make sense to throw into the universe that they're currently building, but be able to actually see these stories live action. Like, for example, Jason Todd is probably dead in this universe, but we could probably see an Under the Red Hood movie made by somebody else with a different Batman. You know what I mean? I like that idea. I like it more than just like this is what's happening right now, and this decision's final, and this is how it impacts the universe.
Give me who's the lead in Mad Men again? I forgot his name.
John Hamm.
Give me a John Hamm Superman movie. Like,
I want a John Hamm Batman.
Just do fucking weird. Just go do weird shit. As far as I'm concerned, like make your own thing. I thought, and this is me as someone that enjoyed Joker for what it is. It's not a perfect movie.
Do you guys want that just from DC and not from MCU?
No, I can do both.
I got a feeling MCU is going to start doing that very soon, where they're going to have their own little pocket universe stories. Like you can't
they're converging it all together with Secret Wars.
Well, it's not gonna converge like 100%. Like you still have other pocket universe. Like you have the Ultimate Universe. You have all these different like cool universes that you can have like little small stories out of. But again, the problem with Marvel is that since just the way it's structured right now, if you show it, it's part of that universe and it's final in that universe. With DC, if you do something like the Batman, it's not final. Anything that happens in that movie has nothing to do with the mainline universe, which gives you more creative freedom to do new shit.
100% for creative freedom. I 100%, yeah, for sure. But because how Disney is so structured, I don't think they're going to do that. I think once Secret Wars happens, everything's going to be back together again, and then they're going to have the young Marvel Avengers and shit like that, and then go from there, I think.
Given the rumors going on for the Doctor Strange movie, where we're going to see potentially characters from totally random movies, so it's just like, yeah, they exist, but they exist.
That's what I mean. They exist, but they're going to converge it all together and make it into one timeline, I think.
Well, no,
from what we're seeing, like they're definitely not converging early 2000s X-Men into the universe. You know what I mean? Or like
Harv, what I think what the disconnect is you're trying to say is that they're in the same world going forward. What I'm trying to say is they may appear, but they exist in their own place.
Yeah, they exist in the Marvel universe. Everything exists in the Marvel universe, but they're not part of the same. They're not part of the what was it? What universe is the movie taking place?
Doesn't fucking
13,
matter.
13 or some shit like that.
Doesn't fucking matter.
You're thinking of
Star Wars.
You guys are saying that Wolverine won't be in the MCU then?
You will
No,
be, but it
there'll
won't
be a
be
Wolverine, but-
early 2000s Wolverine. You know what I mean? It won't be. It probably won't be like.
Yeah, that stuff's whatever at this point. That stuff's.
But it will be part of Multiverse of Madness from what we're seeing in like terms of
Yeah,
like.
but I think
that's true,
more,
yeah.
I think that's more fan service than anything else. Just like how a lot of that stuff.
I don't. But Harv, you watched No Way Home. Was that whole movie fan service?
Yeah, it was 90% fan service.
I think it absolutely told the end caps of those stories. Like, I think it added. It didn't detract. How about that?
It didn't detract. No,
It did not detract. Whatever. If
As
anything,
a Spider-Man movie, it did not detract. But as an actual movie itself, that movie was fucking all over the place.
He's just like, I've never seen Spider.
well, that's why I'm not saying. I'm not
like-
trying to spoil any of it. But I'm just
Yeah,
trying
yeah.
to say, did it
Yeah.
detract from the characters that you know? Or did it add something to their story? And personally, for me, it added to the stories, and those
It added
stories.
to one character of the story.
No, it added to all of them.
Well,
I don't think it added to one of them that much.
It added to 5 of them.
look. We'll
The
agree
ones
to
that I'm
disagree right
talking
now,
about are the
'cause we can't say without spoiling that movie, and one of us has not seen that movie. So we won't talk about that. But I'm curious of what they're going to do with this, and I'm curious of what they're going to do with Peacemaker going forward.
Yeah,
because
yeah.
if you've watched Justice League at this point, this isn't a spoiler because at this point we already kind of know what happens at the end of Justice League. If you haven't watched it, the 5 years ago it came out or some shit like that, we do know that it is ending up in a apocalypse world. So I wonder if Peacemaker does end up that way.
What are you talking about?
Well, the Zack Snyder stuff does eventually end up in the apocalypse
Well,
world.
that's not canon.
I mean,
See.
if Henry Cavill is canon, which Shazam is canon, which Suicide Squad is technically canon.
No, Frank. That is, but the problem here is Zack Snyder decided to make a fucking like jerk off cut, and therefore that is not the actual story going forward.
That stuff was in the original Justice League.
No, but that's not like this is
Batman for Superman.
No, but it's different in terms of the way that they approach the story. It's not. That's all I'm saying. We're not going to get into it, but we'll talk about it afterwards. But yes, Peacemaker's great. I'm glad you like it, and I want to watch more with y'all. We should watch after the show.
Yeah, no, I'm down to watch more of it. I'm putting this like for me.
Fee, are you okay?
If he doesn't know what's going on right now,
I don't know if he's having an aneurysm or he's
I don't
just
think-
chilling.
I don't think you've seen. Have you seen the other DC movies? Because I know that they're not that interesting. They're really not. So I don't blame you for not wanting to watch them.
Shazam's pretty good.
It was all right.
You didn't see it.
I did. It was all right.
Lying.
No, I
Lying.
don't know. I just decided to stare at the camera, and then just rather than start taking stuff off of my desk to clearly keep myself entertained while you guys went off on that tangent.
On that note, I want to go to Mario now.
Okay.
With Pam and Tommy.
Hell is
Yes.
Pam and Tommy?
Pam and Tommy.
Oh, I know.
Or is it Tommy and Pam? I'm not sure. But either way, yes, I watched Pam and Tommy, which of course is the semi-retelling of how the sex tape happened in terms of how it got released. How did Tom and Pammy meet? How it potentially it's supposedly based on an article. I've not read the article.
Marv, you know who Pam and Tommy are?
No, I have no idea who the fuck
Pamela
Tom
Anderson and
Tommy.
Tommy.
I'm about to tell you. It's Pamela Anderson, which is of course the Playboy model, aka also from Baywatch.
Thank you.
Yep. And Tommy Lee from clearly that resonated with Harv in a certain way.
Baywatch, come on, man, come on.
Tommy Lee from Motley Crue, who was the drummer in Motley Crue. And basically just tells the stories of how they meet. It stars Lily James, who is completely transformed as far as I'm concerned. Do you know who Lily James is, Frank? You would know this when I tell you in a second.
I don't know off the top of my head.
Baby Driver, the girl in Baby Driver. She's
a few girls in Baby Driver.
Baby's girlfriend, the waitress.
Okay, I know now. Okay.
Totally.
Isn't that the person who's going to be playing Madam Web?
She's Lady Rose in
No,
Downton
it's Dakota
Abbey.
Johnson.
Yeah.
Okay.
Oh my god. Yeah,
Yeah.
I can see it. Oh my god, that's crazy.
She looks completely different. Sebastian Stan is Sebastian Stan, but it's Sebastian Stan playing Tommy Lee. For her, it's like night and day, like total difference. Like her face does not look the same at all.
I just want to say this cast is insane.
It's insane. It's insane. So it stars that Seth Rogen is, of course, the person that steals said tape and has Nick Offerman in it, and Jason Mantzoukas is in it in a very special role, which I don't want to talk about until you watch the show.
Also, Taylor Schilling is in it.
Taylor Schilling is in it.
Who is from Orange is the New Black.
That's
Yeah.
right. She plays a porn star in it. It's really funny. But ultimately, yeah, it tells the story, and it's fucking crazy. And it takes place in the 90s, so that's fun. So it has all of the touchstones that you would know, like the baggy pants and the jean wallets and the really shitty tribal tattoos. And of course the music, which is fantastic, and the drug taking. And that all happens in the span of a couple episodes. There's only 3 episodes out now. You can watch the rest as they come out weekly, which I'm very...
it's a brand new show.
Brand new show. And it is really, really funny, is interesting and insightful. And I think they are trying to treat Pamela Anderson as a real character and give her more depth than I think people initially take her as. Everyone thinks of her as a playmate and obviously as the face of Baywatch. But she had far more higher ambitions, given the fact that, yeah, she loved movies, which was really, really cool to see. And I think that's fascinating. The sad point about the show, obviously, is that apparently Pamela Anderson has no involvement in it and was reached out but didn't reach back. And so it is the sort of thing where they're telling her story without her, and it does suck. They did reach out with Tommy Lee. Apparently Sebastian Stan had a meeting with him. But overall, the way that they're telling the story, I find it very respectful in the way that there's a veneer of falsehood in terms of like, this is clearly a comedy show, and you should think of it as such. However, these are real people, and these are real situations. Granted, like I said, there are certain special elements that are added on there that are for comedy effect that I find very hilarious. And it pulls no punches. You see from the beginning, and I assume all the way through their relationship, at least in this point, and the advent of the internet and how that spiked and all that stuff, like it goes into it. So
I think everyone here at least has seen this tape at least once.
I don't know
whether you wanted to or not, because if you had LimeWire, you probably got if you're trying to download Spider-Man season 1 or something like that, you probably got it. And a Nicole Smith sex tape. Fucking that was the Rick roll of our day. Was like you go on LimeWire, you try to download like a music video, and you open up the music video, and it's just like Emily.
You download like a song, and you're like, why is the song only 20 kilobytes? That's not right. And then you open it up, and it's just a fucking naked girl. Like, oh,
it's like I want to download the entire discography of POD right now, but I'm just gonna get
and then you
Bill Clinton memes.
Yeah, exactly. Like, I did not have sexual relations. Every time I open like listen to Linkin Park, at the end of it is like, I did not have sexual relations with that woman. I'm like, where the fuck is this coming from? This is not in the song.
Oh, those were the days.
Those are the days, man.
It's cool that this is a mini series. I like that a lot.
Yes.
So it's one and done kind of type thing, which is cool.
Done by the people who did I, Tonya. And that was a really great movie. And so
I, Tonya was pretty good. Tonya was really good.
You know, and it's the same thing where it's just like heightened reality. You know, they're not taking themselves too. Was Sebastian Stan also in that? Now that I think about it, even so,
maybe it's been a while.
Yeah, it's been a while. But yeah, so I personally think that it's worth watching. I understand the hesitancy, and if you don't want to do it because of the Pamela Anderson thing, that is totally fine. I will say I think that they're telling an interesting story that is not as salacious as it could be, even though there is nudity, there is drugs, there's all types of stuff, but still I think they're still trying to tell a respectful story in a funny comedy context.
Would we get that show, Fee? It's on Hulu. Do we get that show?
Would be on Crave.
Pam and Tommy, I think it's on Disney actually. It's on Disney.
Okay.
Disney Plus. Okay.
Last place I'd see that. Okay. Disney, wow, really branching themselves out there.
Yeah.
That's funny. On that note, I'm gonna go to Fee, and she's gonna talk about a great show called The Handmaid's Tale.
Okay, I was wondering what AT&T was.
I watched 3 seasons of this show. I stopped after the 3rd season because I felt like it got a little not repetitive to the point where it's like they kept on going for the same thing, and it was just kind of like I don't really want to watch this show anymore. But right now, Fee is going through the 2nd season.
Yes.
Yeah. So what are your early thoughts?
Funny enough, she was actually going through the 2nd season while we were starting up the show, so she's still pretty much fresh on it.
Yeah. So it's definitely a roller coaster. It is. I think after seeing everything that's been happening over the past 2 to 3 years, it kind of makes this almost to a point where you feel like it may have almost eerily could have like happened because of certain things, like obviously with specific like actions that happened. A specific thing happened that on the 6th of January last year. Like you're seeing like a lot of things like that, and you're just like, this is eerily like terrifying in a way. And I remember like talking to you guys, it was on Sunday, and I'm like, I started watching The Handmaid's Tale, and I don't trust any of you. I don't trust men now. I don't. Good God. For people who are not aware of what The Handmaid's Tale is,
Turn feed to a radical feminist.
um, no, The Handmaid's Tale is about essentially a alternate United States where a large radical group called the Brothers of Jacob have taken over parts of the United States and called it essentially the Republic of Gilead, which is essentially a biblical term. And so they believe that women should be used for only one thing, which is to support men. And they have another purpose, which is having children, which is what the handmaids are. I'm not going to talk about what happens to the handmaids because that is something you can learn on your own freaking time because it is traumatizing. And it's very shocking. Like I have had to skip a number of parts because of how uncomfortable I felt. It is just really upsetting to watch. Why am I watching this?
You're really selling it.
I know, I'm really selling it. No, it's everyone in the show is phenomenal, and I'm saying this because a lot of them are so like evil in a way, or at least being able to play a character that might seem relatively normal, but then you realize like, oh, you're a wife, or oh, you're a commander, and then you're just like, oh, this is incredibly awkward. So there's things called the commander who are the head of households, or usually men who are part of the brothers of Jacob, but usually considered the head of the household. There's the wife who wears blue, usually women that are unable to conceive and are married to the commanders, and also the head of house, but completely lower tier than the commanders. Then there's the Marthas who like essentially are housekeepers, and who are considered not eligible to have children at this point. And then there's the handmaids, or other people that might work in their station depending on whatever. But no, it's really well done. And I know I keep on saying that about the shows and stuff that I've been watching recently. But no, the acting is over the top, and not like over the top as in like crazy, like, oh, this actor is like going like crazy or something like that. But there are just scenes where it's just silent for a good solid like 4 minutes, and you're seeing a lot of things that are very terrifying. Um, and a good example is one of the characters goes down to the specific basement in a factory. I'm not going to explain how or why they came there. And the first thing that like you don't even see what she sees at first, and you just see her facial reaction when she sees a number of nooses in a line, and she turns around, and then she sees just bullet holes in a wall with blood just going down the wall. And
Oh,
this
you
is
know
a
exactly what
factory.
happened.
And
Yeah.
so you know exactly what happened. And it's just really unfortunate events that conspire, that because a large radical group decided that we know the reason why birth rates are down so low, it's because we've turned our back to God. And so it's just, I think I
Mhm.
really enjoy watching it because just one, like I've talked about before, the acting, but also just the overall story is just something very different than what I've seen before. And now I just feel invested because I very much want to see the characters succeed. Also, Canada is considered a safe point. Woo!
Woo.
Because the Canadians are like, y'all crazy.
I don't know if you've been
So
looking at Toronto lately. It doesn't look.
we're not talking about how Canada currently, what state Canada's currently in, because that's a whole other thing.
Apparently,
And
the deep north is also now the deep south.
Isn't that Ottawa?
It's Toronto as well.
With
It's
the trucks.
Toronto.
Yeah.
Yeah. So no, it kind of almost has an eerie feeling of like almost like reality because of the things that we've seen in news over the past 3 years. And just overall large groups of people that have radically different ideals, who believe that they're correct, even though they put other people in danger. So it's just rather than I just turn off the news and decide to put myself in other crazy situation by watching that show. No, it's I would recommend watching it if you are able to, but
Yeah.
I'm going to be honest, there are a lot of triggers and a lot of issues there. That's why I have to skip over a lot of it, because there's a lot of scenes that do make people feel, especially myself, feel incredibly uncomfortable. Elizabeth Moss, absolutely fantastic in the show. Like literally every single character is phenomenal. They're so well done. And the people that I don't like, I'm like, I know the reason why I don't like you is because you're such a great actor that you're making me feel like you're that particular person. Like, if I saw Joseph Fiennes on the street, by golly, I'd punch that guy in the face.
Oh
He's
shit. Okay.
he is
I
yeah.
love shows that have alternate kind of realities in a way, like
Yeah.
alternate way of doing it. There's another show on Amazon called The Man in the High Castle, which is
Yes.
a great
It's
fucking
funny.
show.
I was just thinking
Great
about the show when I saw the intro to that Mario was putting up, because
Yeah.
it's very like oh, I don't know how to describe it. It's the way it's shot. It's very similar.
Yeah,
Well,
sorry. Yeah.
Oh, no. What I was gonna say was it's really odd because it's like once you realize we're in that timeline, like we're in that like it's the same day and age specifically. So like in the show, for example, The Handmaid's Tale,
That was off-putting when I saw that in the trailer.
like you think like when you see like the actual characters, for the most part, you would think like, oh, this must be like based in like maybe the 1940s or something much earlier. But then you see men with like machine guns and you realize like, oh, this is modern day, like, but an alternate reality where this specifically happened. Like the United States technically still exists, but Gilead took a large majority.
Yeah.
Yeah, the entire premise is the like population of the world is declining drastically because reproduction rates are like they lowered by 61%. So they're just like, we need to do something about this, which means forcing women against their will to have children. And yeah, it's really terrifying. And then yeah, but like you said, like like Man in High Castle as well, because
Mhm.
that's like almost like the same kind of way where this is there was a specific thing that happened in history, and that's why they're now
In that they're in
Yeah.
that position. They're in
Yeah,
that position.
because I like for a while I tried to watch Man in High Castle, but it made me incredibly uncomfortable as well because there's a lot of things in there as that I just couldn't watch. I think it was episode 2 or 3 when the family went to the like you'd understand if you watched it. It was the family they went in. I cried, ugly cried when that
When they
happened.
went into the room.
Yes,
Yeah.
because I was not expecting it, and I'm like, I can't handle this, and I'm feeling the same way about Handmaid's Tale, where there's just scenes where I'm just ugly crying because I'm like, this is I can't. Like, why would they allow that to happen? And then you think like, oh, there's just like a sheer moment where you think that there's some humanity left, and then they just pull the rug right under you, and you're like, okay.
Yeah,
No.
a lot of when I was watching the Man in the High Castle, because like I'm a huge history buff, right? I love history,
Mhm.
and one of my things that I always thought about is like, what if World War II went differently? What if
Mhm.
we didn't win, and what would the world look like? And that show kind of encapsulated what the world would kind of feel like, or at least what the United States would feel like,
Yeah.
because that's all they really show. They don't really show any
Yeah.
other country. But then obviously there's there's a sci-fi aspect to it, right? There's
Yeah.
like this whole
yes.
different aspect to it that there's a reason why all these things are happening. But it's
which
very
which
interesting
does
to-
make sense in the reality of what the Nazis were kind of doing. They
Oh,
were
yeah,
very
yeah.
experimental.
Oh, it's
Very
So in a
experimental.
world where you don't have like rules on experimenting on people, just imagine the amount of technology they probably would have been able to build, right?
Yeah, yeah.
And they probably like it makes sense for like a modern day. Like, what if the Nazis won? There would be some like Wolfenstein does that as well, where like
Yep.
the Nazis have like plasma weapons and shit. You know what I mean? But it's like it's
100%,
not
yeah.
too crazy to think about like them having some like future technology with the way they like experimented on things.
No, watch it. Definitely recommend it. It's sad. If you do end up watching it, DM me because I need more
You need
people to
somebody to
talk
cry
to.
with.
Yeah, especially when I get to if I get to season 4, I don't know. It is a trial and tribulation trying to get into that show or like at least watch it. I'm like messaging Harv and I'm like, how? Why? Why are they doing this? Oh my god, what the fuck? What the fuck? What the fuck? What the
Is that a
fuck?
raccoon?
No. Oh, it's a kitty. Do you want to be on the podcast too? No.
Mine is sleeping. She's just like on the bed. She just looked at me as I looked at her, and we're like, "Nah, that's not happening."
I'm gonna go through one more thing for what I've been watching. I've been watching the Righteous Gemstones. Very good show.
Nice.
I recommend it. Danny McBride, John Goodman, some other actors as well. I forgot what the other guy's actor's name was, but
Adam Levine. Levine.
Yeah, Adam Levine. Yeah. Levine. Yeah, he's really good too. It encapsulates that. It encapsulates a lot, in my opinion. So like, it's a really good show, and oh my god, they have so much money for some reason. I should
So much money.
Dude,
religion. Oh no,
religion sells.
It's not a shocker
Yeah.
at all. They are no.
It's crazy.
Southern religious no, absolutely
Yeah.
not. That is not a shocker. Why they have so much money.
Yeah, it's insane. Absolutely insane.
I also am playing Nier now.
What did you
getting
think?
through Nier. I'm about 4 hours in. I am like, what the fuck is going on? And then I went through this one cutscene with a naked dude that has no junk. And I was like, oh, okay. That's interesting. Came out of like a cocoon of other naked androids and just dropped down. There was 2 androids trying to have sex. Didn't make any sense because, they're just humping each other. One was just cradling a baby. And I was like, what is fucking going on right now?
Yeah, you'll get what's going on later, but like it's a trip.
I already the premise of the thing is like the kind of reminds me of Endwalker, not gonna lie, where the humans have gone to the moon and they have made androids that come and fight on Earth against the machines. That's really what the story is so far. That's all I really know. And I got to the village with the people waving the white flags. That's where I kind of got to the not the people, but the machines waving the white flag.
Yeah, Machine Village.
Yeah, and it's so far I like it. I'll be playing it again this weekend. I'm really, really excited for it.
Hell yeah!
And today I started the Final Fantasy 1 Pixel Remaster. I forgot how charming this game was and very difficult this game was. So I'm going through that right now. I'm gonna have like a full review and that stuff later on. But I know I'm gonna try to go through this fast, so I want to get to the news here soon. But Fee and Frank, you guys have started playing XCOM 2. Fee, you've been playing this for a long time. This is Frank's first time jumping into XCOM 2. What are your thoughts so far, Frank?
I'm gonna, you know what? Let Fee here red pill the audience on what the hell XCOM 2 is, because I'm still, even though I'm 40 hours in, I'm still very fresh on the story, because this game does require you to do a lot of trial and error in your runs. Is a very like not a one run game. This is very like multiple run type of game. But I'll let Fee describe it. Funny enough, very much kind of like the alternate reality of that we've been talking about so far.
Correct. It is very alternate reality. So essentially, you are the commander. The commander. The commander. We say that because every single time you're addressed, everyone like for some reason lowers their voice when they say commander. Essentially, the premise is this is the continuation of a story that started back 20 years beforehand in a game called The Enemy Unknown, where a enemy of human race, which is the aliens, came to Earth and tried to take over. They came in large capsules and essentially poisoned millions of people, downtown cities, and projected their aliens, or they stealthily did it by things called the Thin Men, which were snake aliens that were in human bodies, which was real fun at the time.
It's very they live, Mario, because I saw the reaction. No, it's very much they live in certain aspects.
Essentially, the premise is they continue on. I'm not going to specifically say what happens for you to lead, but obviously, I'm going to be quite frank. They kind of explain it at the very beginning. You fail. You fail in the enemy unknown. Doesn't matter what you do, you fail. And so the commander gets captured, and for 20 years, you are taken by the aliens as essentially a source of knowledge, as well as war tactics to go against the humans. And at this point, the aliens have integrated and have essentially made themselves as the leaders, and have total say in government and in power. And they have things called the propaganda, which you would see every single time you go on a mission, where whenever you successfully do a mission, then the propaganda, like people or at least the news, which generally gives a huge vibe of a specific news network that I'm not going to go into, talk about the fact that obviously the evildoers at Xcom are ruining everything, and they're the cause of all these deaths. So essentially, you play as the commander, and you are trying to stop the aliens from continuing, and stopping things such as the Avatar Project and just trying to take the world back from the aliens, because the aliens have some really messed up ideas in mind as to what they're going to do with Earth, and in this case, with the introduction to things such as the War of the Chosen, you find out that they're planning like a lot of them are planning on leaving, but they're going to be leaving a specific like mastermind, or at least a leader that would represent the aliens on the planet. So yeah, it's really fun. It is a turn-based tactical game, where you have 4 to 6 members in your team, and you have to either gain intelligence, save VIPs, build your reputation with specific other alliances that you can join with, and just build relationships that way. And you're also building your base and just trying to fight back, because at this point you have to find out what happened the 20 years that you were away. What did they do? What information? But yeah, it is a really fun game. I love it. Enemy Unknown was a game that I played a substantial amount of, and now I've gone back to play XCOM 2 because I didn't finish XCOM 2, I'm going to be honest. And I just started the War of the Chosen, which is an DLC, which I would highly recommend just playing with the DLC.
Yeah. No, this game's really fun. I knew about the strategic aspect of it. I didn't know that like I remember XCOM 2 being a big deal when it got released on Xbox, like back in the day. I didn't realize that was a big deal because it was like a 10-year. What you said, 10-year or 20-year gap between the games?
It's a 20-year time jump. There's 10 years between the games, though.
Yeah, so like 10 years. So like that explains why that was such a big deal when it got announced and got released. I like this game. I love difficult games. So I usually like jump into those and I usually have a lot of fun with it, but this game is hard, man. There is a lot to do in this game. It's not just like, oh man, you go do a mission and you're done. It's very much like Fee said earlier, it's very much a balancing act of like, hey, you're put into this world. We will give you a quick introduction to it, a quick like tutorial mission, and then every subsequent time you restart the game, it just starts you in a new spot. With new characters and new everything, and you just have to figure out how to save the world, whether it be like, hey, do I start this project, or do I start this project, or do I attack this thing, or do I go this way? You have the whole world kind of like a risk map almost, and you can do some really cool things in terms of like what you can research, what you could do with your soldiers, their abilities. They have like random events in the game where like, you know, they'll just throw you a curveball, like now all enemies have +1 armor for the rest of the month, or now all enemies have a bigger sightline, so then it's harder to sneak up on them. And then the game does procedurally get harder as you go on. You start seeing harder enemies, more they start doing more damage to your characters. it gets the more you go, it gets harder, and it at some point you're just like, yeah, this war is lost. We're not going to win this war. Rerun it. Let's try it again with a different set of, like, maybe I'll do this differently instead. That way I'm prepared for this event to happen. The game itself is insanely fun. I love the voice acting, incredibly good. The way you interact with the characters, I thought was going to be kind of bland, but the way you interact with the characters is pretty good. You talk to them, they have their own little side stories and everything like that. Kind of like how in Fallout, they had, like, if you talk to a character for long enough, you get a mission with them and stuff like that. They have stuff like that in here. And it's just overall, I love it. The customization is out of this fucking world. Like, you could do so much with customization. The mod support's really good. War of the Chosen, if you have the War of the Chosen DLC, there's insane mods you can do with that. I've just been having a lot of fun just kind of encapsulating myself in this world, just trying new things. Like, earlier this week, I told Fee, like, hey, I was stuck on the first level for like 2 hours because it was literally impossible. They throw you in the meat grinder. But then I was like, okay, maybe if I lower the difficulty a little bit, because I was playing on like the second highest difficulty, and it was just like, yeah, these rules are meant for people who have played this game multiple times.
Well, he's just like, I'm like, what are you playing as? And he's like, I'm playing as Commander, but with Iron Will on, which means that
Iron Man,
you're on Iron Man, which means you don't have any takebacks. Your characters die, they're gone. Like, there was no. I'm like, this is your first time playing this game and you want to go that okay? Like, I don't even play with Iron Man on. I don't play as Commander. I play Veteran, and Veteran still whoops your ass.
Yeah, I'm on Veteran now, and it whoops your ass. It destroys you.
Yeah, no, it is not a... Well, there's Commander, and then there's, like... I forget the step up from Elite. I think it's... Commander, I think it's Elite. And that
it might
one,
be Elite. Oh.
I think if you get hit once, your character just dies. Like, it does not matter. You do not get saved. You get overrun really fast. And things like the Lost, which are zombies, which fucking suck. They come in hordes. Like, they go like almost like World War Z, kind of like fast paced, like coming at you per turn, and it sucks.
Yeah, this game is. I like to describe it right now as a game of discovery. It doesn't tell you anything. It doesn't handhold you, and it throws you so many goddamn curveballs that it's just, honestly, it is really unfair. But once you discover something or discover where the game is going, you know how to get to that point better. To the point now where, like, yeah, I spent 2 hours on the first mission. I learned the mechanics. I restarted. At my second mission, I did the same mission and killed 50 enemies on that same mission that I only killed like 10. On the first time. So you will get better. You will get better as you learn the game. But honestly, I'm just having a lot of fun with it. It's like, I don't know if I don't know if I'm in love with the fact that it's a base builder as well as a strategic game, because I love base building, man. I love building up troops. I love building up like facilities and, like, you know, upgrades and stuff like that. Or if I love the fact that the game feels a lot like if anybody's ever played Dead Rising 2. There's a constant overlooming feel of you're running out of time. And that this game plays on that very heavily, and it's great. I love it. I can't wait to put more hours into it. I told Feet earlier today that where I am right now, I think I'm going to have to restart because I'm in a little bit of a pickle right now. My troops are really, really good at killing things, but I am not doing well in building facilities right now. So I got to figure out on my next playthrough how to balance that a lot better than I've been doing so far.
Nice. Yeah, I've only seen other people play XCOM. I've never really jumped into it.
Yeah.
It's a blast. I would definitely recommend everybody to try it out at least once.
And the last thing we're going to talk about, I think did somebody take it off?
I did, just because we were going long, but it's up to y'all.
Yeah,
we've all played Extraction.
Yeah,
6 Extraction. I like it. Lukewarm on it, mainly because it's good only if you know what other, like, the operators are and stuff like that. Because, like, I like the fact that it makes you change operators. I do like that, where if something messes up, you have to go change another operator. It's a good game. That's kind of where I would put it. It's
the Game Pass game, you know?
Like what we said, or like I said last week, it doesn't have to be anything more than what it is.
Yeah, exactly. It's a good game. Yeah, that's kind of... where I'm at with it.
How'd it run? You played it, Fee. How'd it run on Stadia?
It didn't run very well. I played 2 hours of it. I played pretty well, and I even streamed it. It went really well up until I decided to go and claim a code because you can get essentially a skin code if you go into, or at least costume code, I guess, with Twitch Prime. And so I selected that. I put in the code. I tabbed back into the game, and then it just became very laggy. And there was no way to fix it. I tried restarting my Chrome. I tried doing other things. It just wasn't working. And I had Stadia Plus, which is an add-on to help. Nothing was helping with it. So I just tried to play throughout the game, and I didn't enjoy it on Stadia. So I switched over to Game Pass. Yeah, it was upsetting.
Yeah, we should play it sometime, all of us. You know what I mean? On Game Pass, at least.
Well, it's only 3 players, like, permission.
Is it only 3? I thought it was 4.
Yeah, that's 3.
Oh,
It's 3.
Yeah. I think I mentioned that too when we played it, Mario. It's just like, it's kind of a dumb number, 3.
Yeah.
Like, most squads are 4, so I don't understand why they would make it 3.
I guess maybe balancing wise, they thought that 3 was the best, but either way.
Yeah.
I mean, balancing is whatever in the game. I feel like it's just kind of like do the mission, kill the zombies, go out.
Yeah.
I feel like that's how it is.
It might open up later on down the road, but I haven't played it enough to actually see what happens in later missions and stuff like that.
But I think that's it for what we've been playing and what we've been watching.